Hello, Franklin Webner here with Ben Sion, Lehrer.
Yes.
I hope you saw our introductory interview video, which we did a couple days ago, and this is our first quote work interview, work session. I usually do in the process 3 sessions using Gestalt techniques. And by the way, he just signed a form that says we understand together that we're not doing, quote, therapy, whatever that is. That's protect me, but we're using, quote, techniques of awareness, or whatever they might be called, Gestalt techniques, but we're doing it in the context of creative exploration, spiritual search, or whatever you want to call it, education. But we're not calling it therapy for somebody that needs a doctor, and I'm taking legal responsibility for his life as his therapist, etc., etc., etc. All right. So anyway, I usually do 3 sessions in this Gestalt process. The first one is we're going to do today on awareness. What is awareness? I'm happy to know that he hasn't read too much on the subject of Gestalt therapy, so that's perfect because he has a chance to discover what it is. One way to look at a session like this is, you meet somebody and you just start dealing with it from scratch. And so here he is, he's dealing with a process from scratch, and we're going to discover how he deals with a process from scratch, which is very important. Okay, the first half of the session is called Unguided Awareness. What that means is I'm simply not guiding him. I'm basically his secretary. I got my pen ready to go here, and I'm taking notes. That doesn't mean I'm not paying attention to what he's doing. Later on, the notes will be very important. I'll feed them back to him as a performer, and we'll using this material as part of his creative material. On the second half of the session, after we'll take a short break, is called Guided Awareness, where I look over the notes, give him some feedback, and then I make an attempt to guide him to, if I see, and maybe there's nothing to guide. Maybe this will be the first guy out of 635 that's perfect. It doesn't need any guidance. But then the second part, I will make an attempt to move towards what you might say the some sort of ideal, whether you want to look in terms of Gestalt or in terms of Kabbalah or whatever, and that's the second half. Okay, that's as far as we go today. Goal is not to deal in depth with all kinds of very serious personal business, rather just to explore the awareness process, because I believe it's a very, very important beginning. It's kind of like you check out the car before you take a trip. So this is basically, I'm the mechanic here, and he's the car, and that's all basically what we're doing today. All right. So basically, I'm asking the same question. I've already told Ben Sion, by the way, that he's free to censor. We realize that this stuff might be on the internet, so he's free to protect his privacy and the privacy of people that he might deal with. It's very important. And later on, we might censor or edit out certain things if we think they're too not proper to put on the internet, for one reason or another. And what else? So he's free to censor. He's free to lie. He's free whatever he wants to say. He's basically just free. It's a free improvisation, right? I think that's mostly what I wanted to say. Okay, so we start off. And basically I'm asking the same question for 2 hours. Question is, what are you aware of? And he's going to discover what I mean by awareness as he goes along, because I'm going to be like the story of Uncle Remus and Tar Baby. I'm not going to give the right answer. I'm just going to keep the process going, and he'll try to figure it out for himself. Okay? We agree on those basic rules?
Sure.
Okay, very good.
Also, since we're doing awareness, so there's more awareness when a person calls out the full name of a person. So I have a middle name, Eliyahu, Ben Sion, Eliyahu, Lehrer. So then I'm being more my full self.
So every time I talk to you, I've got to say Ben Sion Eliyahu?
Yes, Ben Sion, yeah. I think it'll be
better. Oh my gosh.
It'll wake up
That's
more
a mouthful.
My root. Well, in this situation, I think it's good because it connects to roots of a
Okay, now
person's
right away he brings
soul.
up an interesting theoretical point here, all right? He's putting a condition, you know, talk about negotiations with conditions or without conditions.
Right.
And my job, by the way, is to frustrate every attempt to sabotage this process. And here is a beautiful example of sabotaging the process, okay? He wants to make rules in a situation where basically the only rules that I want to enforce here are those that require to do the commandments of Gestalt therapy. Thou shalt try to stay in the here and now. That's basically the rule we're dealing with here. Thou shalt, you know, basic rules of civility. You can't beat me up. You can't rip your clothes off. We're not going to allow that stuff. But aside from that, I don't accept the idea that I should call you that or any other name you might come up with along the way. Okay. Now you can deal with that. You don't have to accept what I said either.
Okay. That was a name called out at my Brit Milah. So actually, Elia was called out at my Brit Milah, and the rabbi on Mount Zion gave me the vav.
Okay, and again, the simpler way of saying, vetoing that is to say it's not awareness, okay?
Okay.
You're giving me a direction and that's not awareness, because basically the exercise is, what are you aware of? And everything that's not that is my job is to tell you about it. But actually, I just jumped to something we should do the second half, guided awareness. Usually the first half, my job is not to give feedback so that we can discover give this guy some some rope to hang himself, you know, so we can see what he's into. Great. Before we start before I start pretending that I'm the Mashiach with all the answers here. We just want to let him do his trip, you know, so we can all discover who we're dealing with here. All right, but I made an exception because he wants me to start calling him Eliyahu Ben Sion Eliyahu. That's too many syllables to deal with. Ben Sion's enough.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
Okay, so now let's start again. And okay, did you notice the time when we stopped, by the way? When we started?
It's 3 minutes ago.
It was 3 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Okay, so you could see better than I can. Okay, very good. So what are you aware of now? That's our question for 2 hours, all right?
I'm aware that we're in front of the camera. And
oh, hold it, I forgot. I got to write down the name. Well, I'm taking notes. Ben Sion Eliyahu. Okay, Eliyahu. Okay, so now what are you aware of now?
I'm not only aware that we're in front of the camera, but I'm aware that when I'm looking at the camera, I'm in a certain sense, even though it's not the now, but in a certain sense the now, looking at the camera includes the future, that I'm looking at the people who are watching our video. And I feel that I'm giving them energy. I actually feel a connection, even though it's not in the now.
Okay,
the
so now
there.
one of the rules of Gestalt therapy is whenever we want to make things direct as possible, so instead of saying giving them, how about saying I'm giving you energy?
Giving you, actually I wanted to say that, that's
yeah,
great.
Okay.
And giving you energy, right? I'm aware of the clock, because you asked me to keep track of the time. You know, the tape lasts 1 hour. I'm very aware of you, Mr. Franklin Redman. And I'm very aware of the pen that you're using and the writing, and I'm aware and ready for the guidance and the questions you're going to bring up. I'm aware of the lights, I'm aware of the room, I'm aware of the rug, I'm aware of how I'm sitting, I'm aware of my clothing.
Hold it, slow down, I gotta catch up, all right?
Okay. And I'm aware of how I feel inside myself. I feel happy, and I mean, thank God we're in the land of Israel, and how could you not feel happy? Really, actually, right now, northern Israel, the holy city of Tzfat.
Hold it, let me catch up.
And
Hold it, slow down,
okay.
please. Okay, go
I'm
ahead.
aware that it's springtime. We're after Purim. It's a very beautiful sunny day. Still a little bit cold, but I'm aware that the cold feels good, and it's not the type of cold that's going to make a person sick. you might sneeze a bit, but you're not going to like end up in bed. I mean, unless you're really living on the wrong diet. It's a time of strength and energy and new potential. And I'm aware of that in this moment. And if I look around more, I'm aware of the curves in the entrances in this room, which they build this way in Israel often.
The curves? Which curves?
These ones.
Oh, those arcs. Okay.
Arcs. And aware of everything. I mean, there's a Fender speaker that the camera doesn't see that I'm looking at, and Franklin's piano. Remember everything, and if I begin to look around the room, but most of all, I'm aware and ready for the journey that we want to take. I'm even aware that I have payut, curly payut. It's not like self-consciousness, but I'm aware of what I look like. I mean, for years I didn't have a mirror in my apartment whatsoever, but I'm somewhere now where there is a mirror, and I brush my teeth, and there I am. Because normally I'm never looking in the mirror. And so I'm aware a little bit. And I basically, even though I live inside my head, I can apply my eyes to the physical reality around me. So I can continue mentioning the different things around the room, the radiator.
Oh, let me catch up a little bit.
I think it's already the door. Very aware that there's nice glass around your door, which allows a lot of natural sunlight to enter this room. Should I keep going?
Yeah, okay.
I should keep going? Everything.
Again, always the same question.
There's,
what are you aware of now?
Well, there's the shadows behind us on the wall also. I mean, I'm in the reality right now. I'm aware that there's a mezuzah up, two mezuzahs actually. There's like two entrances. There's two mezuzahs there. And great. I'm aware that I think it's going to get boring, or it's already gotten boring if I keep going on. Great. I should mention more. Mentioning more would take me out of just my plain meditative state, and I would maybe have to get more into the details of everything going on in the room. Your books, the phone, all these kind of things. But again, I think the main awareness is the intellectual pursuit that we're forming in this moment with your questions. And that's what I think I should be most aware of. The here and now, our conversation. I'm aware that...
Oh, let me catch up.
That you write...
Oh, please, let me just catch up a second.
This is one of the first things I became aware of, that you write.
I just want to get that sentence done. Okay, go on.
That you write with your left hand. And that triggers in my brain everything I know about left-hand writing. It's becoming more from your right hemisphere, which is, people say, creativity, less locked into borders of practical thinking, factual thinking, but the higher spiritual, creative side of the brain. So when I see your left-hand writing, I really think to myself, okay, this explains a lot. If I start...
Okay,
Okay.
hold it. Just wondering whether we should stop now and... Hey, let's stop now, okay? When I say stop, I mean for feedback, okay? It's another step of the process here. I need some time also to assimilate. Basically, I'm just going to review these things that you did and said, okay? And give you feedback to whether, in my opinion, this is awareness and fits into what the Gestalt process we call awareness, or is it something else that's potentially interfering with the process, okay? So, so I told you, I gave my feedback about the first precondition idea, okay? So we are in front of a camera. Well, you see the camera, okay? Camera inclusive. Now, right away, the camera includes the future. Now, that's not awareness. The future is an abstract idea.
Well, no, it's awareness that in the future someone will be looking at our now.
Well, that's a fantasy.
No, I'm not fantasizing about it, but I know that when I look at the camera right now, that I'm really, in a certain sense, even though they don't exist in front of us, looking at you, right?
Well, okay, that's sort of a...
But I'm not hung up on it. It's just like, it's an awareness...
Look, let me give my... I don't want to haggle about everything. We'll never get beyond this, all right? But I hear what you're saying, and to some extent, it's a fantasy you're projecting out there, so, and a fantasy is awareness, okay, by the way. But it's borderline, because it's a kind of abstract... The future is an idea that's not here in this room, okay?
It's not a fantasy, because I'm not thinking
you're arguing with me,
No,
okay?
I'm not thinking about what the person's thinking who's watching us.
Yeah.
I just know that on my end, I'm giving energy. I have no idea what the other side of the audience is doing, thinking, or how they're taking in what they're saying. But I'm aware that there will be someone watching this. And when I'm looking at the camera, I'm not thinking that it's a camera with plastic and kind of like, molded plastic. And
okay, now hold it. Now again, the future is not here and now.
Yeah, but I'm not thinking about the future. I just know that in the present, when I'm looking at the camera, it doesn't mean that I'm looking at a camera. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at the people who are watching us. Not that I'm going into the future. I just know that the camera means, in the present, the camera means that people will... Okay,
I heard what you said, okay? Can we go beyond this now?
Sure.
All right, I wrote down what you said, I wrote my reaction, okay. Now, the clock, you saw a clock, okay. Of you. You took a look at me, you see my pen, my writing, okay, that's all. These things are awareness, what you call outer zone awareness, okay, the environment, all right? I'm aware and ready for guidance. That is some kind of a very complicated process going on there that is not in the category of simple awareness, okay? Aware and ready for guidance. Ready is again, some kind of a, it's not something tangible, all right? It is a feeling. But also the guidance is an abstract idea in the future. All right?
No, I'm talking about...
Please
me.
do not argue with me.
I'm ready in the present.
Would you please not
Okay.
argue? You're sabotaging this work. I'm telling you, if every time I open my mouth, if every time I open my mouth you're going to argue with me, we're not going to do the work. We're going to do a different kind of work. And I don't want to do that kind of work, because that's not Gestalt work. Okay?
But
we're not having a debate about the value of Gestalt therapy.
Not the value of Gestalt, but when...
Please, let me do my job.
Okay.
Okay?
But if I disagree with...
You don't, then just save it all, and as soon as we get through with this list, I'm going to ask you, what are you aware of now?
Okay.
And then you could say whatever you want. Okay? But this is my turn to give feedback.
Okay.
Without interruption.
Center.
Okay? All right, thank you. Okay, now we go on. You're aware of the lights, the rug. how I'm sitting. That's outer zone awareness. That's awareness, okay? How I feel inside myself. That's inner zone awareness, okay? That's awareness. I'm in the land of Israel. How can I not feel happy? That's an abstract idea. That's not awareness. The land of Israel, we're in the land of Israel, but the land of Israel is not something concrete in this room. Okay? According to the way I understand it. And how can I not feel happy? That's a question. Questions are not awareness. They sabotage the work. Okay? The holy city of Tzfat, again, that's an abstract idea. It's springtime. Okay, now that's another idea. A beautiful sunny day. You might see some sun through the sunshine, so I'm not going to haggle about that. Okay. It's cold, the cold feels good. But in this room, is it cold? No.
It's a little bit, Chris.
A little bit. But it's not like, you were talking about how it was outside, right?
No, I'm talking about how I feel in this room.
You feel cold in this room?
It's a little bit cold, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't feel uncomfortable cold, that's nice.
So the cold feels good. That's awareness. Okay, awareness of this room. Okay, fine. The time of strength, energy, and new potential. Again, more abstract ideas. All right?
Right.
If you tell me you feel a particular kind of strength and energy and potential,
Right.
but you're talking in general. This is a time, an abstract idea about time.
That's what I meant. I feel,
Okay,
I feel
all right.
this way.
So these are abstract ideas.
I
Okay?
feel turned on, like there's a new light inside of me.
Okay. I'm not ready for you yet. The arc of the, you're seeing some arcs? Yes, there are 2 arcs there, so that's outer zone awareness, okay? I'm aware of everything, and there's the main problem here, okay? To be aware of everything is to be aware of nothing. All right?
That's not what I meant.
Please let me talk. Do
Okay.
not argue with me. You have a chance to do your thing in another couple of minutes. Just let me finish this here. Okay? One of the main things about awareness is that we take a moment at a time and we live it. There's no such thing as everything at one time. We can talk about the universe as a wonderful place, but that's an abstract idea about the universe. It's not here and now concrete reality. Okay? So when you say I'm aware of everything, that's like saying I'm aware of nothing. Okay? Of the speakers, again, that's outer zone awareness of the piano. But you notice you're aware of a lot of different things, but you only give each thing about 2 seconds. So far, we would call this rushing. You're rushing. One way to look at a session like this is as if this is a theater. We're doing a scene together. I'm the scene partner. I'm one actor. He's the other actor. And if he is looking all over the place on this stage and jumping back and forth to a million things at a time, and the audience is seeing a chaotic situation here because they're seeing an actor that is not focused on practically anything. Okay?
That's why I don't give time.
Please don't explain it. I'm giving you my feedback whether you like it or not, okay? And I'll give you a chance to talk as much as you want.
Feedback's based on misunderstanding.
Then I'm wrong. That's all right. I don't have to be right. I can be wrong. I've only been doing this for 38 years with only 635 people, so I might be wrong. Okay. So now, most of all, I'm aware of being ready for a journey. That's in the future. The journey's in the future. That's not here and now. I have peyote, okay? So maybe you feel them.
No, peyote. Yeah, I'm aware that I have peyote.
How are you aware of them, though? Did you feel them? Did you see them? No.
Did I see them or feel them?
No. You remembered them, but that was a fantasy. So
no,
a fantasy...
I sort of feel them on my neck.
Okay. A fantasy is awareness. So if you were fantasizing and seeing this image that you saw in the mirror of yourself with what do we call them? Payas. Then that's awareness. But again, you just gave about 1 second to the payas. But that is awareness.
The point's sitting with you, not my payas, and not anything else I'm looking at. The point's you right now.
Okay. There are 3 kinds of awareness. We're beginning to discover now, and I'm giving you some more feedback. There's outer zone, which is considered awareness in this system, and there's body awareness, which is considered awareness in this system, and there's fantasy zone awareness. So far, most of your awareness is outer zone awareness, just a tiny bit of body awareness and a tiny bit of fantasy awareness. Okay? Let me go on. I have, okay, even though I lived in my head, I would agree. Abstract ideas. Things around the room, again, jumping around the room, okay? Shadows on the wall. Every one of these things is an awareness thing that you could get into if you wanted to, but you're not stopping. Two mezuzahs, it's going to get boring. Now there's what's called a judgment and a projection in the future. You're looking ahead in the future, and you're already feeling critical eyes looking at you. That's called a judgment, all right? Then that's not awareness. The moment we start judging either other people or ourselves, we're not really seeing them, we're not really hearing them anymore. We're into a different kind of process, all right? You smiled, but you didn't say, I'm aware that I smiled. Okay, so you were ignoring a lot of physical things that were happening. For example, how you're sitting, your voice, for 1 second again. Please don't haggle with me. Let me finish, I'm almost done. I should mention more, okay, question mark, and the question is not awareness. I would get into the details of the objects. You see, you said it yourself, I would get into the details of the objects, but you didn't. For some reason or other, you...
I don't know if that's the point.
You don't know. Okay, so since you... Please don't argue with me. Okay. You're making me shout.
Okay, don't shout.
I don't know what I can do to get you to stop sabotaging this work. Okay. You're sabotaging it.
Yeah?
Okay?
Well...
Please let me finish. I'm almost finished. Then it's your turn. Okay?
No problem.
All right. The intellectual pursuit of what is, okay, exactly the problem. The intellectual pursuit is what you're doing here rather than the work, okay? That you write with your left hand, okay, you saw that, and it triggers your coming from creativity. Now that's a good example of what you should be doing. In other words, I would call that creative thinking. You have an awareness that I am writing with my left hand, okay? So you start from your awareness, and then on the basis of that, you make associations and comments, and that's exactly what a creative person does. You start with real life, and then you build your art on it, okay? Okay, but that's a rare example here, and it took you all this other stuff before that started happening, where you would stay with one thing long enough and develop it as a creative process, okay? So that you were writing left hand triggers, you are coming for a creative, okay, then you gave your commentary about that, okay, fine, all right. All right, so overall summary here is that about 99% outer zone, rushing, jumping, intellectual stuff, ideas, future. Okay, so there's a lot of outer zone awareness happening so far, but it's very fragmented. All right, fragmentation. A good example of fragmentation. Okay, like a broken mirror, as they say in the Kabbalah. Okay, so let's see, what time is it now? It's
25.
We started, it went around 3 after 12 o'clock? Okay. So let's do now the same process again, okay? I'm going to ask you what you're aware of now, and I gave you all this feedback, and I hope you won't get involved in a big discussion about it. I hope you will just try the best you can to deal with what you're aware of here and now, okay? But if you want to say something now, overall, let's take a minute or two and say that, all right?
All I can answer you is I am completely open to whatever I should be aware of. If I should be aware of the objects, what do you call it, the outside awareness?
There's outer zone, inner zone, fantasy is on awareness.
And that's what's the point, is to be aware of the outer zone. I can jive with that and put my energy into every detail that's in this room. If I'm supposed to be aware of you and your
hold it.
reactions,
Let me answer this, okay?
I'm completely open to be aware of whatever I need to be aware of.
Yeah, if I give you directions, but the point is, I'm not
without directions, all I am is just, without directions in anything, I'm just here now, ready for whatever it's supposed to be.
Okay.
So the question is, what is it supposed to be? Is it a conversation you're having with me? Do you want me to focus on the external things in the room and talk about each thing and how I see it? I could go on for days and days on each thing. I'm completely, Baruch Hashem, aware of everything.
Okay, now
but I don't want my awareness of the external things to, in any conversation with any human being, to disrupt and distract what I should be focused on. A person, the Gemara says that a person who lifts up his eyes to
okay, the Gemara is not part of our discussion now, please.
I'm explaining something.
Then
someone looking up, because I want to say Gemara. Looking up and noticing a beautiful tree.
Okay, Benzion, please.
Can take us away from our
Do you want to do this work that
Noticing a beautiful girl walk by can take us away from our conversation.
Are you willing to work with me now or not?
I'm not sure what the point is.
Will you let me go on and try to work with you again?
Yeah, you need to tell me the point, because if it sounds like...
when you ask for what is the point, you are sabotaging the work, because questions are not awareness.
Okay, so you asked me what I'm aware of. I'm not aware of anything except the light of God.
The light of God is an abstract idea.
Okay, so all I'm aware of is that I feel happy inside. That's all I'm aware of.
Okay, will you let me write down what we're talking about?
Okay. And if you want me to talk about outside things and apply my awareness to this room, I can do that too. Whatever you want me to do.
You won't let me write. You won't do the exercise.
Well, what exercise is it? You make it sound like if I'm jumping around.
Okay, I won't write. Please tell me what you're aware of here and now. Let's start again. Yes. What are you aware of here and now?
The light of God.
Okay. Go on.
That's all. Nothing else.
Okay. And now what are you aware of now? Because each now is different.
Again, the light of God. Nothing else.
And now?
It's the light of God.
And now?
Again, it's all the light of God.
And now?
The light of God.
And now?
Same thing.
And my feedback is the light of God is an abstract idea. It is not outer zone awareness of the environment. It is not body awareness. And it is not a fantasy of a particular image that you have. What are you aware of now?
I'm aware of everything, but not in a negative sense. I'm aware, I'm completely open, and I can focus on my body if I want to, and how I'm sitting, and how I feel, and how I'm breathing, and how I feel inside, and if I feel nervous or I feel calm. I'm aware of all those things at once.
Okay,
but I'm not opening up those pages like a website to focus on.
Okay. We're now going to shift over. I was going to wait an hour, but now we're going to. It's even half an hour is enough. We get the picture. We see the gestalt. We see the pattern here. I see a pattern how you're operating here, and that's what I need to know. Okay, in order to start off. To get to the next step. The next step is guided awareness, all right?
That's cool.
Okay? So, this time, I will work with you moment by moment, rather than just waiting half an hour or so to give you feedback, okay? So I'm writing down here, guided awareness, all right? So each item, we will deal with it as it comes along, okay? So let's start again. What are you aware of now?
I can apply my awareness to anything which is important.
That is not awareness.
Okay.
That is a general principle.
Right. So where am I? I'm sitting in this.
Okay, let me start again. How many fingers do you see?
You have 3 fingers up.
Very good. That's awareness. Okay?
Okay.
All right? What color is my shirt?
It's mainly blue.
Thank you. You notice that the first half an hour, there was no color in your awareness practically.
If I chose to focus on your shirt, I would give you.
But you didn't, okay.
Why should I? If I want to diagnose you, I could tell
Wait,
you
let
everything
me,
about
will you
you.
let me write for a second?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Now, what are you aware of now?
I'm aware that I'm not locked into the borders of this physical world.
That's an abstract idea.
Well, I'm aware that I'm completely free to focus on whatever I want to be aware of, to control what I want to bring.
Okay, I want to give you an exercise. Would you mind doing an exercise?
No, I guess
Okay.
not, probably not.
Would you mind? So far we've seen enormous amount of outer zone awareness and very, very little inner zone awareness, body awareness. So would you mind closing your eyes
Right.
and describe your breathing?
I'm breathing properly, which is into
No,
my
properly is a judgment, it is not awareness.
I'm aware that I'm breathing into my stomach,
Yeah, okay, that's awareness.
and I'm aware that the air is basically fresh and clean,
It feels fresh and clean.
and it feels fresh and clean. And I'm aware that when I close my eyes, my higher chakra level, where my tefillin sits.
Chakra level is not awareness.
I'm aware that the top of my forehead is, in my inner brain, is opened up, and I feel light from heaven coming into my head.
Light from heaven is not awareness. It's an idea about awareness, but it's not awareness. What exactly do you feel in your head?
I feel light from heaven, and it's not an idea.
What do you feel in your head? Do you have a headache?
No, not at all. I feel that the light of God is in me. And I feel that if
Hold it, let me write this down, please.
If I feel that I can...
Please let me write it down. Okay. What are you aware of now? In your body, inside, in your body.
I'm aware that my body is completely calm.
Okay, calmness is awareness, yes.
And I'm aware that I can stretch my consciousness way beyond.
Stretching consciousness is an abstract idea.
Beyond
What
that.
are you aware of in your body?
That's what I'm aware of. Okay. Besides that I can reach heaven, I'm aware, I'm aware of it, I feel it. And I can teach people to get to that level, as I understand.
Okay, hold it, please. Now let's go back to the outer zone awareness, okay?
Okay.
All right. What are you aware of in the outer zone?
I mean, if you want me to look around.
Was it nicer inside or is it nicer outside?
I can be inside and outside.
Right now, I asked you which is more pleasant, to be outside or inside?
When I'm...
This moment.
This moment, I never leave my inside.
So it's more pleasant to be inside?
It's more pleasant to have a balance between the two.
That's a balance is an abstract idea. Okay,
So
let's drop that.
I'm
Okay.
in both worlds at the same time.
Okay. Hold it. Let me please write this down.
Okay.
Please let me write.
Okay, so.
Okay. I want you to please pick one object to focus on, okay? Anything.
Okay. Okay, I'll focus on the Fender speaker.
Okay, you see a Fender speaker. Would you
Yeah.
please describe?
It has 4 speakers that inside of it that are lined up really in a nice kind of angle, balance.
You see them?
It's attractive.
Can you
Yeah,
see them?
I can see it through the screen, yeah. Through the speaker.
Okay.
I see the words Fender. And I see how there's 2 holes that also allow the sound from within the speaker box to come out, besides just the sound from the speaker itself, but the sound that's produced within the box
Okay.
can come out.
All right. So you see this. You see it. Very good. Let's try another object. How about me? How do you see me right now?
Well, as a diagnostician.
No, that's an abstract idea.
Well, I see.
Do you see me at all?
I see that you have nice, strong eyebrows.
You see eyebrows.
That triggers in my being, but
Wait a minute.
I know what that means.
Strong eyebrows is already jumping to the second step.
Okay. What do I see?
You describe the eyebrows.
They're thick.
They're thick, okay. And therefore, since they're thick, they seem like they're strong, okay? Can you see the process that I did there?
It means you have a zest for life.
Okay, that's already your commentary. That's the second step. So first you saw the eyebrows.
Okay, they're strong.
And you saw that there are a lot of them, and they're thick, okay?
Yeah.
And then you jump to the second idea, was therefore they're strong, therefore your personality is such and such and such and such. But do you see the process that I'm looking for here? What I would call creative thinking, start from something tangible, and then go to, you can add any kind of commentaries you want. But without that basis of tangible contact with reality, okay, it's not awareness, okay? And if we have 2 hours without much contact with reality, it gets to be very frightening to deal with you. Because I'm dealing with a person that's not here.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I live in my head. I live in my neshama.
Yeah.
But I'm aware. I'm extremely aware. I'm extremely, like, my reactions, thank God, are lightning speed. And,
yeah, lightning speed is...
I'm responsible. If all of a sudden the door opened and there was someone there who was not this or that, I could jump from here to there in a split second. I'm completely aware of everything that's going on. More so than someone who's locked into the physical reality.
Okay. All right, we worked... What time? We started at what time? 12?
Basically 12.
So we worked 40 minutes, okay?
Okay.
Okay, we can try to work another few minutes and we'll take a break, but let's try it again, okay? So we just did a little bit of work with outer zone. We did a little work with body awareness. Let's try fantasy zone, okay? Would you mind trying to work on an image?
Sure.
Okay, so please close your eyes. And I remind you, you're free to censor if there's something you don't want to share, okay? Can you actually imagine, daydream, and see any kind of an image there?
The immediate image I see is the Hebrew letters of God's name, Yud and a Hey and a Vav and a Hey.
Okay.
That's what I see.
All right. Describe how they look.
It's called Ketaf Ashirit, the beautiful Hebrew script, where the Yud has a nice curve, and it's black on white and sort of like a light blue. And the Hey is also written in a type of beautiful writing, and I see also with it the words Haya, was, Hoveh, is, and Yihiyeh, will be, together with it. I guess that's basically what I always focus on.
Say that again? That's what I always focus on.
That's always what I focus on. Meaning I'll always try to renew myself by reaching back up to that.
So in other words, if we go inside to get imagery 100 times, we're always going to see the same Hebrew letters. Is that right?
If I'm, yeah, I mean, you know, like...
There's no other possibility of working on any other image at all with you.
Yeah, there is. If you wanted me to try to pull another image, and I can go to lower levels. I can think about a beautiful blue sky and green grass and water. Okay,
do that. All right.
Okay, and there's.
So you see green sky. No, green grass.
Green grass, blue sky.
Yeah.
And just nice calm water, and the grass kind of like rolls down to the water, and there's some deer running by, and there's some other cute bunny rabbits, animals.
What kind of a deer is it? A big one or a little one?
It's a medium-sized one. At first it was a medium-sized one, now I'm seeing one with antlers.
What color is it?
It's that reddish-brown color, that light, kind of light cream, reddish-brown color that the animal has. My mind can go wild. I can see everything.
What?
I can see, my mind can go off and see everything. I can be wild and see, you know, and see all the different types of animals coming out. The elephants, the snakes.
Now you see.
I can see elephants and snakes. I see Noah's Ark. I mean, depending like where I'm going.
Okay, I want you to slow down a little bit. Okay, would you mind slowing down?
Okay.
so you focused on the deer a little bit. You see the elephants, Noah's Ark. What do you want to focus on now? What do you see right now?
I see the rainbow.
The rainbow. Tell me about the rainbow, okay?
It's big. It stretches across the sky, a
Yeah.
curve.
What colors do you see?
It's mainly gold and blue and purple. And
Yeah.
And then the blue sky.
Is it a big? Does it stretch very wide or is it narrow?
Not narrow, not wide, just like basic normal. And there's this incredible blue sky that it's passing through. And there's birds, like white doves, beautiful birds in the sky. I also see now flowers.
Wait, tell me about the white doves now.
They're just lightly cruising along.
Do they make any noise?
No.
Okay.
And there's beautiful little flowers coming up out of the green grass in the ground, like, yellow dandelions and other nice little flowers. And basically I can also focus and see what I see normally in Israel is the poppy flowers, the beautiful red poppy flowers coming up. And I see beautiful paths, going down, which I really love. Paths going down through the nice green grass and the rocks. And it's great to be in this space.
Okay, very good. Now now let me just focus on something else. How would you describe your voice as you're doing this?
Very calm and calming to my ears and coming from a deeper spot of myself. And even though I have this picture of reality, a nice reality in the physical world, I also still have the picture of Hashem over it.
Okay, aside from, now you're jumping off into abstract ideas again. The voice. Was it a loud voice? Do that voice some more. Talk that way. Yeah, do that voice.
It's not a loud voice.
It was
a
soft.
It's a soft, calm, mellow voice.
Yes.
Which is an ease, like an izun, like a balanced voice.
See, now look, notice, you said soft, calm, mellow voice, and now comes the comment, the association. And the comment is that it's a balanced voice, right? Okay?
It feels balanced.
All right. Comment is, feels balanced.
It basically...
Do you see the process that I'm doing here? Again, slow down, concentrate on something, contact it, and then give your associations about it. That's what I'm working towards here.
Awesome.
That's our goal. And that seems to be very difficult to do for you. We're getting to it little by little.
Depends what I want to put my neshama into. What should I be thinking about? I mean, we're here in this world to serve God.
Right, well,
so what should
right,
be? What should we be
hold it. You're getting off into a whole bunch of abstract ideas.
No, not abstract. I mean,
the question is not why we're here in this world to serve God or not. The question is, are we dealing with here and now awareness?
If you ask me to focus on a scene in nature, then I can do that. If you ask me whatever you want to ask me to do. But if you ask me what
I'm not looking for a slave. I'm looking for you to use your freedom to explore reality.
Focus on is,
and you want to be a slave.
It's just the light of God.
I don't want to be your rabbi.
So all I focus on is the light of God and happiness.
Okay, hold it. We're getting back in another hike. We got lost again. All right, but for a little while we were dealing with reality. Okay, and so far the most real thing of what we've in the three zones, the one that was the most close to what I would call awareness is the fantasy zone, where you pick an image and you're able to slow it down and focus on particular things, and then you're able to make some comments about that. Okay, so that's an example of where I want the work to go, and that fits into the creative process, the way I understand it. And it's very different from what we started off with at the beginning, where you were jumping a mile a minute all over the place and giving me a whole lecture about all kinds of philosophy and Kabbalah and all this other stuff. Are you willing to continue to work with me and to explore this after we take a break now?
Yeah, I imagine it will progress.
Okay, so we're going to take a break for about 5 minutes, and then we'll continue this process of guided awareness, okay? All right?
Great.